So I'm going to read an excerpt from a brand new story that does not have a name yet, but it is about two mothers who are also sisters who have two daughters. A lot of female pronouns, respective daughters, Anna, who is almost 13, and Julia, who is 16, and the four of them are on a ladies-only trip to Cape Cod. They have just gone to their favorite donut shop. That's all you need to know. Okay? Okay. Anna and her mother end up on the beach, sitting on a bench. The sand has been ground right into the boards, smoothing them like driftwood. They eat a donut each, without talking. She can smell her mother's coffee in a flimsy paper cup that's wedged in the sand at their feet. Sue sips from it and offers it to Anna. She takes it, even though she doesn't drink coffee. She sips and understands suddenly how coffee breath works, how the smell of it changes inside her mouth, and how it will stay on her tongue for a while. They watch the waves, which are small on the bay side, approach and recede, leaving behind rocks that are only pretty when wet, and crabs and broken pieces of shell. So I was thinking, Sue says, I brought the camping gear. Anna had watched her load a two-man tent and sleeping bags into the car yesterday morning. She'd ignored it then. I know. What do you think about camping on the beach tonight? Tonight? Anna has never liked to camp. The dark, the peeing in the woods, the hard ground. But the house is right there. Her mother doesn't look at her. That's not the point, A. I'm telling you, there is nothing like camping on the beach. Why? Anna looks down at her toes in the sand. She wiggles her feet until they are completely buried. What's good about it? Well, the sound, for one, the lovely wave sound lulling you to sleep. Sue makes wave motions with her hands. And sand is soft. And waking up to that salty smell. I can smell it from the house. I don't want to. Fine, just think about it. I'm going to do it. With or without you. Sue stands up and brushes the crumbs from her shorts. With or without you, oh, she sings in her Bono voice. Back at the cottage, there is an uneasy stillness. They pause in the living room, listening. Hello? Sue calls. They walk through the kitchen and out to the porch, where Ellen is sitting at the table, her head resting on her arms. When she hears them come in, she straightens, smooths her hair, wipes the back of her hand across both of her eyes. They are puffy, Anna sees. Donuts, Ellen says. Yum. Anna stands near the door of the screened-in porch and holds the bag up. The grease stains are more noticeable now, darkening most of its bottom. We got 3 kinds, she says. Do you want one? Sue sits down in the white plastic chair near her sister and angles it towards her. What's going on? She rubs her hand on Ellen's back, up and down in the space between her shoulder blades. Oh, Ellen says, Jules and I had a little tiff. Where is she? Ellen shrugs. I'm not sure. She went out maybe an hour ago. Anna backs out of the doorway and into the kitchen. She pours a glass of water. She puts the bag of donuts on the counter. She can hear the women talking low on the porch, and she is about to go upstairs to listen to some music or to write in her journal when her mother says, Anna, come here for a second. The donut is like a rock in her stomach, and one sip of coffee she took sloshing around. She goes back to the doorway. There are bikes in the shed, Sue says. Would you grab one and go look for Julia? Check the corner store maybe, the beach. There's also that path through the state park, remember? Her aunt does not pick her chin up from where it is resting on her chest. Okay, Anna says, I'll just go put on different shorts. Sue knows this fight would be something else, something more typical, if not for a phone call 2 months earlier. Her sister quiet on the line, Sue saying, hello, hello, Elle, can you hear me? Then the kind of sobs that came from so deep in they hardly made any noise. Julia, during the second week of summer camp, where she was a counselor in training, had left a finger painting activity for her second graders without a word, had just turned and walked right out of there and into her cabin, which she shared with 3 other CITs, girls she didn't know very well. Then she had taken a water bottle full of vodka, 16 inches of it, from 16 ounces rather, of it, from who knows where, her duffel bag, and she had proceeded to drink the entire thing quickly as if it were actually water. Her cabin mates found her 2 hours later at lunchtime. "She's at Hartford Medical," Ellen said. "She's in the psych ward." Sue had driven down the same night. Now, on the porch, they sit. It's afternoon, everything outside of the screens more subdued. Ellen has not gotten dressed, has not brushed her teeth, and Sue can smell her breath. She can see her sister's pale rib cage through a hole in her t-shirt. She would like to grab her niece's upper arm and squeeze it. "What happened?" Sue says. Ellen shrugs her rounded shoulders. "Nothing too out of the ordinary. I suggested she get up before noon to enjoy our time here, and she said she never wanted to come, that she hates it, that her phone doesn't have service, that she hates me." When their kids were younger, Sue had disapproved of how much stuff Ellen's had. The scooters, the skateboards, the computers, the cell phones. Her sister was easygoing, would rather give them what they wanted and avoid a fight. "What about boundaries?" Sue had said once. "Oh, you on your high horse," Ellen yelled. "What the hell do you know, raising a kid in the middle of nowhere?" Right now, she is sad, Sue says. She moves her plastic chair even closer to Ellen. "But you have time. It's hard to even like her right now." Sue nods. Girls are tough. Mine, for instance, never talks to me and refuses to do this one thing I'm asking her to do." Ellen's mouth makes a little smile. "I'll camp on the beach with you anytime." "I appreciate that." Sue picks up Ellen's dirty mug and 2 water glasses, brings them into the kitchen, and runs them under the water. "It's important to keep moving," Sue calls. "Get dressed. I think we should have lobsters tonight." At the ocean beach, the path ends, and Anna leans the rusty cruiser up against the wooden boards of the walkway that goes along the dunes. She stands in water up to her calves, then her knees. There are bigger waves here on an unprotected stretch of peninsula, and she stares down at the way her legs warp and bend underwater, at the way the white comes up around them and recedes, leaving very fine bubbles on her skin. This is a private beach, but there are some families spread out, babies in sun hats with flaps, a little boy with a boogie board attached to his wrist. She imagines she can see Julia's tracks in the hard, wet sand closest to the water, heel-toe compressions that stick even after the waves come up over them. She considers asking some of the families if they've seen a blonde girl walking this way. A blonde girl in a red sweatshirt with a big, round butt. Once she heard her mother and aunt on the phone giggling. And her mother had said, "My God, Ellen, look at that thing. No wonder the boys are lining up." Next to her cousin, Anna feels like a little boy, even though she has started wearing very short shorts. "Excuse me," Anna says to a woman sitting in a low beach chair, but the woman has her eyes closed and doesn't hear. The sun is lower now. Anna watches it sit above the water and then start to fall in super slow motion into it. The breeze has picked up and the mothers on the beach are putting on their terry cloth cover-ups, gathering sand toys. She takes a left away from the water and towards the windy, quiet roads that lead to it, cottages close together, Velcro catch games. As far as Anna knows, Julia has never run away, but maybe she has this time. She's old enough. Maybe she got a ride somewhere. Maybe someone picked her up while she was walking in broad daylight along the highway. Anna thinks about riding the bike back to the house in the dark on that empty bike path and her mother and aunt sitting on the porch looking at her with big, wet eyes. "You couldn't find her?" Look for her yourself, she says out loud. Don't just sit there, get in the car, drive around, I don't know.